Hey guys, Kris Jones, episode 88 of Ask Me Anything. Guess what? Today we are going to chat about something that is a requisite of personal and professional success. And that is your continued commitment to enhancing your skills, challenging yourself personally and professionally, and to continuing to educate yourself. It's a lifelong journey. So many people will go to undergraduate, graduate school, or whatever it is, and then they come home and they may never read another book. I'm not suggesting that the majority of people do that, but too often we stop depositing development and growth in our skills and our education. And as you guys know, think about this. This is like one of the most common conversations. At the end of the day, a formal education is great. You know, you earn a degree, but it's really life skills and reading the stories and studying the stories of others that have succeeded before us that really are the game changers with regard to how successful we become, how happy we become, how fulfilled we become. So I have been slightly obsessed since I was a teenager and since I got out of graduate school and law school, and during that, for that matter, in reading and in going through seminars and going through programs and enhancing my skills. It's been very important to me to develop expertise in the topics that I talk to you guys about. I'm speaking from my experience. That's a much, much different place to speak from. So in order to give yourself that experience, you need to put yourself in the situation to develop the skills that could, like me, position you to do what I'm doing for you. So what I decided to do today was challenge you first. When was the last time you read a book, right? It could have been yesterday. I have friends that read so much more than I read. But just ask yourself that question. When was the last time you read a book? And specifically, and reading a novel or a suspense thriller, cool, but particularly around skills and professional development. So like a business book or a book on personal development. When was the last time you did that? When was the last time you made that investment in yourself? Just answer that for yourself. In addition to just reading books, what are your favorite sources or go-to sources of information, whether it be on the web or whether it be, at a local university as it relates to continuing education? But what are those resources that help you continue to invest in your personal and professional growth? Both of those questions would lead you to an answer to this third thing, but you may have other ways of doing this. What are you doing to position yourself? I'm assuming that you're either a young professional or a business owner or an executive or a manager. What are you doing to position yourself as a thought leader or expert? I mean, I could tell you that outside of just having a good attitude and being positive and having a really strong moral fiber, I would say that my obsession with developing skills has been really one of the differentiators in my life to get business meetings, to get opportunities to write for publications, to give presentations locally, regionally, nationally, globally. So what are you doing to position yourself as a thought leader or expert? So you need to invest in these skills. So I'm going to share with you guys just a couple of the sort of game-changing tools, books, and products that I have leveraged over the last 20-some years of my life to grow personally and professionally, to continue to invest in myself. This book here, which I've referenced in different AMAs, discusses the power of the law of attraction as it relates to you believing that you have everything that you need to develop a life where you have abundant wealth. Think and Grow Rich. I know I've read this thing 5, 6, 7 times. It feels like every time I read it, it feels like I'm reading it for the first time. That's how profound that book is. I've done it. I think I've done an AMA on this, but you guys know I'm a big Tony Robbins fan, as you guys could see. But one of his most recent books called Unshakable. The cool thing about this is it's really about investing and about you preparing for the next sort of market collapse and how you can make investments on a regular basis to invest now, even if you're not making a ton of money, so that whether or not you need money in 5 years, 10 years, or if you're planning for retirement, which everybody should be doing, it just gives you the tools. And he does it in a way that's inspiring as well and very actionable. On the professional development side, guys, building a business these days is all about putting something out into the marketplace sooner rather than later, either a prototype or an MVP, and allowing your customers to give you feedback so that you could build the most exceptional, killer product or service. I've talked about The Lean Startup by Eric Ries so many times, guys. If you're in business, you need to read this. This is not only a paradigm shift, this is the new way to build tech businesses around the world. Maybe the single most profound book I've ever read is The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. I've almost given more copies of this away than any other book. Why? Because think about it for a second. We're talking about you making an investment in your continued education and personal and professional development. God, just if you were able to build up enough confidence such that you took whatever goals you think you're capable of achieving and magnified them, doubled them, tripled them, quadrupled them, what you would demonstrate you're capable of. Schwartz's book, The Magic of Thinking Big, is one of those books that helps you do that. Guys, I've talked about this throughout my entire AMA series. If you're in business, if you're in sales, you need to buy The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. This is a book that literally changed my life because it was so concrete and action-oriented in terms of how you reproduce the success that Chet's had across hundreds or thousands of clients over the course of his life. You guys know that I went to 17 Tony Robbins live events. I've walked on a hotbed of coals. I've walked on fire like 6 or 7 times. I have sent over 30 of my senior leaders and executives over the years on my dime. I paid for it for them to get that experience. I have a little like 5x7 photo over there from Luke Matthews, who is my former VP of Business Development. I sent him to the Tony Conference live event in San Jose, and he walked across the hotbed of coals, and he somehow got his hands on a piece of coal, and he wrote on a piece of paper, "Life will never be the same," and he gave it to me when he came back. So you'd have to ask Luke if it changed his life. Luke was always is a super successful guy, but I bet you he would tell you that it's amplified it. But anyway, so I've gone to a ton of seminars. I think you should too. There's all kinds of seminars that are available to you. You just have to say, in 2018, I'm going to check out Tony Robbins for the first time, or I'm going to go to one of these other seminars. If you're thinking about Tony Robbins materials, and if you were to ask me, it's a very common question. Hey, Kris, I've never, maybe I started to read Tony's book, or I saw him on Netflix or in Shallow Hal, and I'd really like to check him out. Where do I get started? His book, Unlimited Power, and Awaken the Giant Within, both of those were written, they're a little bit aged, but honestly, the content is profound. But if you like DVDs, that kind of thing, like audio DVDs, Personal Power 2 is basically the updated version of his seminal work, which he put out back in like the 80s, called Personal Power 1. This is a 30-day, absolutely change your life, take it to the next level series that deals with personal, professional, health, wealth, all of those things. This was a series that Tony put out a couple of years ago called The New Money Masters, where he sits down with about a dozen super, uber successful business people, including Chet Holmes. Like, Chet Holmes is one of the videos. And then the cool thing about this is that it's video, where these are just audio. So you have interviews with him, John Reese, a number of other people that I actually count as friends. Very fortunate to have met some of these people that are in Money Masters. If you're like, Kris, I don't have 30 days. I don't know, that doesn't really interest me. Tony has a bunch of short programs. Like this one's called 3 Steps to Thrive. It's really, let me see here. It's 3 audio discs. Super, super easy for you to put in your vehicle and listen to in your downtime. And then finally, as it relates to this video, and guys, this is all about you investing in yourself, taking your personal and professional life to the next level, just juicing yourself up to believe in your true capacity to accomplish and to attract whatever it is that you focus on. So this final one is called Creating Lasting Change. And this is part of the Time of Your Life series, where you go into the time management stuff, like the rapid planning method, which I've used for years to completely control time. Time doesn't control me, I control it. People don't even understand how I'm able to do as many things as I do and still drop my kids off in the morning and then be at dinner at night by 5:30, where we're saying grace. It's highly unlikely that I miss any of the kids' sports. How? Creating Lasting Change and Time of Your Life by Tony Robbins. So guys, we are getting toward the close of this AMA series. I have some really exciting videos coming up. I have some exclusive interviews with some community leaders and people that I have a tremendous amount of respect for here in northeastern Pennsylvania coming up after this AMA. I hope that you guys are not only enjoying these. I just know because you've reached out to me that several of you have gone through all of these videos. And while that's awesome and it motivates me to continue the series and think about how I could leverage video and I guess my platform in the future to give back, you know what matters even more? That you're actually taking notes. That you're watching this video and you're saying, you know what? I too can do what Kris just suggested. There's nothing profound about him outside of the fact that, number one, he doesn't talk. He does. That's a fact. And he's willing to share it. You guys could do the same thing. Thank you guys so much for your time. See you guys in the next episode. Peace.